Hey guys, my name is Bando, this is Brexit Bando, and this is some sort of reactception, as I'm reacting to someone reacting to something else. It's not that bad, it's not that toxic, trust me. So I recently just watched the EmanG video on the whole EmanG situation, which was released a little bit ago by Side Scrollers. I've seen that video. They had a bit of a podcasty sort of thing with people like Arch, and yeah. So the gist of the issue is EmanG is being sued by GW for his 3D print models to the sum of about £45,000, $45,000. And I'm not reacting to that. That okay, that's a thing. It's not great, but it's a thing, and I'm not really bothered about that side of things. I'm actually reacting here to EmanG, and he's talking here, and it's because it's a bit of a, not a cautionary tale, but a bit like a cautionary tale. EmanG goes through this video, and basically he his point of view, which is perfectly valid, is GW never made anything original themselves. They stole all their IP, and that this guy was just making 3D models, and they don't like the competition. Arch even makes a mistake in this video where he basically is like, you're making these models for Warhammer Fantasy. Warhammer Fantasy isn't a thing anymore. The old world's coming out, but they're not even ready for that, which is not true. Old World has already been released. It is a fully existing game now. And I wanted to cover this idea that, this guy is doing nothing wrong but 3D modelling and creating models for a game he loves, which is something I fully support. If you want to go out there and use your 3D modelling skills and you want to make models, and I really don't care if you make them on representative of anything, that's cool. That's you. That's fine. And if you want to get a Patreon put up to for people to make donations, again, that's fine. But I need to clarify something because it's a little disingenuous, and we need to hold our community to be better than that. So, here are a couple of the models in question. Because, yes, I got quite a lot of his models before they were taken down. And look, they're very good quality, aren't they? These are some fantastic storm vermin. These are, would be brilliant on the tabletop. There's just one problem. And it's why he can't talk about where he got them. EmanG's not allowed to talk about where he got them because he pulled these straight out of Total War. All of his models like this were rips directly from the source code of Warhammer Total War. And yes, he may have done some fixes, some tweaks. He may have changed a few bits to just make sure the models were suitable for 3D printing, and he certainly posed them or turned them into the STL files that we need. But this is not as simple as a man has created some of his own work and is being threatened by Games Workshop. There is a big difference between sort of this and someone like Logi-K, who built all his stuff from scratch and has had to take it all down due to threats of legal repercussions from GW. Which he still had. He basically still got taken to court, and his lawyers did a fantastic job of mitigating the damage. The sad point is that a lot of 3D printing is a legal grey area and may technically be illegal. It is using other people's intellectual property, it is using other people's work and creating our own things. It is a soft form of piracy. Now, does that mean I disagree with it? No. Does it mean that we drastically need to reinterpret and reevaluate the intellectual property laws we have in the West? Absolutely. especially for companies who appear to have almost abandoned certain projects. I've seen replicas of models that haven't been made by GW for 20 years get struck down. That's not on. That is no different than abandonware on a PC. There's lots of video games out there that I would love to keep playing, and the only reason I can keep playing them is because dedicated fans go out of their way and make them available. They keep them working. They keep them available to download because the original developers have abandoned them. And I love fan creations. I love the work of the community. And if he had created these from scratch, he would be in a considerably better legal situation than he is. This is no different, realistically, than those Russian guys who take industrial 3D scanners and are scanning GW kits. Now, the other part of me, because, there's always two wolves fighting inside of you, both of them are retarded. The other retarded wolf loves this, thinks this is great, keep doing it, please export more video game stuff. I will give you a list of games I want models from. I love scanners, give me cheap Ghana fixes, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, it is a company, it's got people to pay, they must protect their intellectual property. But that being said, it is very clear that we are reaching a point where it's almost like it doesn't matter anymore. Like, you can't put it back in the box. We've got this. We can write the rules. We can make the models. We can produce the models. We can produce the marketing, the law, the hobby articles. There is no aspect of this hobby that an organised company can do that we can't. That's it. Like, if we take the idea of intellectual property, we take the idea of rights away from it, there is no difference realistically between Games Workshop and a guy in his room writing his own rules, testing it, modelling his own models and 3D printing them, or providing those files to other people. He can create a YouTube channel where he creates his marketing, he can do his own fluff, he can pay artists. The microeconomy of like Fiverr and all that sort of stuff means that smaller industries now can produce a level of content equal to corporate behemoths. And GW is kind of... An old CEO of mine once, when we were out to dinner, once gave me this piece of advice, and he said it's not the most adaptable to change that survives. He says it's not the biggest fish. It's not the biggest fish in the pond that survives, it's the quickest. And he meant the quickest to react to the market. And GW is not the quickest fish, not by a long shot. But they are trying to be the biggest fish. And they are, cave trolling their arms around slowly, swinging wildly, trying to fend off what is a swarm of smaller, more agile, quicker to react businesses. And I don't want GW to fail. I really don't. I love the setting, the aesthetic of, Space Marines and all that. 30k is fantastic. It's such a brilliant setting. I want more of it. I want kind of for GW to shrink. I'd like them to go back to being a small business. I think they've got themselves too big and they're stretching out too far. And this video is showing what's happening. You are getting people coming up behind it. But, this isn't a bash GW video, right? Okay, I wanted to make sure that you guys knew this video was more to cover the fact that, what was being reported in, this video is not quite accurate. This isn't just some poor guy who was 3D modelling. He isn't just some guy who has been picked on by Games Workshop and they're absolutely, running him into the ground because they want to destroy the, destroy the competition. He has done something he's not allowed to do. And as someone who's, wanted to work in the games industry, trained to be in the games industry, has friends, housemates, and, all that sort of stuff who work in the games industry, I can tell you just how much work went into creating those models. So for someone to come along and then just take them and use them to make their own money is a little disingenuous, and then play the victim. Another thing here is he he talks about how Arch should have fought to keep his original name, which was Arch Warhammer. He couldn't have done that at all. Warhammer is a copyright, and he would have lost horribly. So yeah, I mean, I very much recommend going and checking out this Side Scrollers video, just so you can hear what's going on, but do remember there is always two sides to a story. Alright, there'll be a second video coming up shortly, guys. I'm doing just a little tutorial video at the moment, but I wanted to cover this because I was, I felt like it was important to cover. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. My name is Bando, this is Brexit Bando. Bye bye.